And we begin in Ethiopia, where a high-level delegation from Eritrea is due to arrive in Ethiopia on Tuesday. They are meant to discuss recent peace overtures, raising hopes of a breakthrough in one of Africa's most intractable military standoffs. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said this month he was ready to honor all the terms of the 2000 Algiers Accord. Eritrean President Isaias Afewerki said last week he welcomed what he called Ethiopia's positive messages. Eritrea and Ethiopia broke off diplomatic relations 2 decades ago, although Asmara has a permanent delegation in Addis Ababa representing it at the African Union. Well, let's get to you an update now. CGTN's Girum Chala is on the line with me from the Ethiopian capital, Addis Ababa. So what more can you tell us, though, Girum, because that is a very rare delegation that has been received in Ethiopia from Eritrea?
Well, Beatrice, we are here at the Bole International Airport in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, awaiting this delegation from Eritrea. It's a long time coming. As you remember, these countries were the same people, same culture, if you like. And because of the war in the 90s, the situation between the two countries changed, and it stayed for too long. Now, this delegation is the first breakthrough, as many are saying, in order to strike a better peace deal, a better peaceful coexistence between the two countries. That's why the foreign minister of Eritrea, the presidential advisor of the country, and the permanent ambassador to the African Union of Eritrea, that is, 3 of these personalities from Eritrea are expected to arrive here at Bole International Airport. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed is expected to welcome them. There is a huge ceremony being set up here. So we expect them to arrive in the coming, perhaps, few minutes.
Girum, this is coming after almost 2 decades of sour relations between Eritrea and Ethiopia. So what exactly do we know about the agenda of the Eritrean officials?
Well, as you remember, the first sign of, major sign, that is, of Ethiopia's will to open up doors for talks started after the coming of Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed into power, and when he made a call for the Eritrean counterparts after his party and government decided to accept and fully implement the Algiers Accord. As you remember, according to the Algiers Accord, Ethiopia and Eritrea were supposed to allocate as per the decision of the court, supposed to demarcate their borders afresh, and some sort of lands and villages are supposed to go to Eritrea, and from the Eritrean part to Ethiopia, among other issues. Now, for a long time, President Isaias Afewerki has been declining any call for peace from the Ethiopian side, saying that unless and otherwise Ethiopia decides to fully implement what the country has signed in Algiers, there won't be any peace agreement. That is why now that Ethiopia has decided to implement, there is now an opening. The peace talks are going to more or less focus on making this a reality on the ground.
So the Ethiopian Prime Minister has said that he will honor the Algiers Accord there, but we are, of course, going to be asking what's the reason, though, behind the latest thawing of relations between Eritrea and Ethiopia?
Well, the stalemate between the two countries, what we have seen over the last almost 2 decades, before that, during the war, the bloodshed of perhaps close to 100,000 people from both sides. And apart from that, the current painful status quo between the Ethiopia and Eritrea on the border, for example, there are about 250,000 soldiers from perhaps both sides. Border protection of 1,000 kilometers of border between the two countries is a tough job. A lot of logistics. It requires a lot of finance, which was supposed to be used perhaps for developmental activities of the two countries. That is what they want to break now. At the same time, the two countries are brothers and sisters, historically the same people. And this current status quo is not helping, not only for development and other issues, but people-to-people relationship is not even working. And according to the Prime Minister of this country, the integration issue of the African Union, as Ethiopia is the host of this continental organization, cannot be achieved when there is a bad example in this region between Ethiopia and Eritrea. So because of this and other many reasons, they have decided to break the status quo, and hopefully many believe that with the coming of this delegation to Ethiopia, things are going to be smoother and smoother, and at the end of the day, we might see the beginning of new flights between Asmara and Addis Ababa, bus transportation, and perhaps borderless communication and trade between the two countries, Beatrice.
All right, Gerum Chala joining us there from the Bole Airport in Addis Ababa.